Good morning, everyone. It is finally Friday, and we are finishing off this week, and then we will have 1 week left. Yay! All right, we can do it, right? We're in the home stretch. Today, we are going to be talking about the atomic bomb and the ending of World War II in our history lesson. And believe it or not, there is a wonderful Dr. Seuss book that goes along with the idea of the atomic bomb, and more so than the atomic bomb, the Cold War between us and the Soviet Union, and how when two nations both equally have power, what happens? So we have an atomic bomb, then we know that they have had tests of their atomic bomb. Then what happens to both sides because of that? And Dr. Seuss, especially when he got older, this book was written in the 80s, before the fall of the Berlin Wall in Germany. And he attacked a lot of real issues in some of his older, longer books. And this is one of them that attacks that idea, the idea of the Cold War and having something as dangerous as the bomb and what that looks like. So I want you to listen and see how he is addressing those issues and some of the things that he's pointing out. This is called the Butter Battle Book. On the last day of fall, or on the last day of summer, 10 hours before fall, my grandfather took me out to the wall. For a while, he stood silent. Let's see if I can get in a good place here. For a while, he stood silent. Then he said, with a very sad shake of his very old head, "As you know, on this side of the wall are the Ukes. On the far other side of the wall live the Zooks." Then my grandfather said, "It's high time that you knew of the terrible, horrible thing that the Zooks do. In every Zook house and in every Zook town, every Zook eats his bread with the butter side down." But we Ukes, as you know, when we breakfast or sup, spread our bread, Grandpa said, with the butter side up. That's the right, honest way, Grandpa gritted his teeth. So you can't trust a Zook who spreads bread underneath. Every Zook must be watched. He has kinks in his soul. That's why as a youth I made watching my goal, watching Zooks for the Zook watching border patrol. So I think this is his first point, is where you butter your bread important. I think what Dr. Seuss may be saying is sometimes we start battles over things that are not necessarily important, and instead of just understanding that people are different. In those days, of course, the wall wasn't so high, and I could look any Zook square in the eye. If he dared to come close, I would give him a twitch with my tough-tufted, prickly snickberry switch. For a while, that worked fine. All the Zooks stayed away, and our country was safe. Then one terrible day, a very rude Zook by the name of Van Itch snuck up and slingshotted my snickberry twitch. With my broken off switch and my head hung in shame, to the chief Ukaroo in great sorrow I came. But our leader just smiled. He said, "You're not to blame, and those Zooks will be sorry they started this game. We'll dress you up right in a fancier suit. We'll give you a fancier slingshot to shoot." And he ordered the boys in the back room to figure how to build me some sort of a triple sling jigger. With my triple sling jigger, I sure felt much bigger. I marched to the wall with great vim and great vigor, right up to Van Itch, with my hand on the trigger. "I'll have no more nonsense," I said with a frown, "from Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." Van Itch looked quite sickly. He ran off quite quickly. I'm unhappy to say he came back the next day in a spiffy new suit with a big new machine, and he snarled as he said, looking frightfully mean, "You may fling those hard rocks with your triple sling jigger, but I also now have my hand on a trigger. My wonderful weapon, the jigger rock snatch 'em, will fling 'em right back just as quick as we catch 'em. We'll have no more nonsense. We'll take no more gup from you Ukes who eat bread with the butter side up." "I have failed, sir," I sobbed as I made my report to the chief Ukaroo in the headquarters fort. He just laughed. "You've done nothing at all of the sort. Our slingshots have failed. That was old-fashioned stuff. Slingshots, dear boy, are not modern enough. All we need is some newfangled kind of a gun. My boys in the back room have already begun to think up a walloping whizzinger one. My bright boys are thinking they're on the right track. They'll think up one quick, and we'll send you right back." They thought up a great one. They certainly did. They thought up a gun called the Kickapoo Kid, which they loaded with powerful poo-a-doo powder and ants' eggs and bees' legs and dried fried clam chowder. And they carefully trained a real smart dog named Daniel to serve as our country's first gun-toting spaniel. Then Daniel the Kickapoo Spaniel and I marched back toward the wall with our heads held up high, while everyone cheered and their cheers filled the sky. "Fight! Fight for the butter side up! Do or die!" Well, we didn't do. And we didn't quite die, but we sure did get worsted, poor Daniel and I. Van Itch was there too, and he said, the old pig, "The boys in my back room invented this rig, called the 8-nozzled elephant-toted boom blitz. It shoots high, explosive, sour cherry stone pits, and will put your dumb Kickapoo kid on the fritz." Poor Daniel and I were scared out of our wits. Once more, by Van Itch, I was bested and beat. Once again, I limped home from the wall in defeat. I dragged and I sagged, and my spirits were low as I thought that they ever could go, when I heard a boom-bah and a diddle-dee-dill, and our butter-up band marched up over the hill. The chief Ukaroo had sent them to meet me, along with the right side up butter song girls to greet me. They sang, "Oh, be faithful, believe in thy butter," and they lifted my spirits right out of the gutter. "My boy," smiled the chief Ukaroo, "we've just voted and made you a general. You've been promoted. Your pretty new uniform's ready. Get in it. The big war is coming. You're going to begin it. And what's more, this time you're certain to win it. My boys in the back room have finally found how. Just wait till you see what they've puttered up now. In their great new machine, you'll fly over that wall and clobber those butter-down Zooks, one and all." Those boys in the back room sure knew how to putter. They made me a thing called the Utterly Sputter, and I jumped aboard with my head all aflutter and steered toward the land of the upside-down butter. This machine was so modern, so frightfully new, no one knew quite exactly just what it would do. But it had several faucets that sprinkled blue goo, which somehow would sprinkle the Zooks as I flew and gum up that upside-down butter they chew. I was racing pell-mell when I heard a voice yell, "If you sprinkle us Zooks, you'll get sprinkled as well." Van Itch had a sputter exactly like mine, and he yelled, "My blue gooer is working just fine, and I'm here to say that if Ukes can goo Zooks, you'd better forget it, 'cause Zooks can goo Ukes." I flew right back home, and as you may have guessed, I was downright despondent, disturbed, and depressed. And I saw just as soon as I stepped back on land, so were all of the girls of the Butter Up Band. The chief drum majorette, Miss Yuki Ann Sue, said, "That was a pretty sour flight that you flew, and the chief Ukaroo has been looking for you." I raced to his office. The place was a sight. "Have no fear," said the chief. "Everything is all right. My bright backroom boys have been brighter than bright. They've thought up a gadget that's newer than new. It is filled with mysterious moo-lack-a-moo, and they can blow all those zooks clear to Salamagoo. They've invented the Bitsy Big Boy Boom-a-Roo." You just run to the wall like a nice little man. Drop this bomb on the Zooks just as fast as you can. I have ordered all Ukes to stay safe underground while the Bitsy Big Boy Boomaroo is around. As I raced for that wall with the bomb in my hand, I noticed that every last Uke in our land was obeying Chief Ukaroo's grim command. They were all bravely marching with banners aflutter down a hole for their country and right side up butter. And we're going to talk about this too. A lot of people did have underground shelters during this time because they were worried. That's when Grandfather found me. He grabbed me. He said, "You should be down that hole and you're up here instead. But perhaps this is all for the better somehow. You will see me make history right here and right now." Grandpa leapt up that wall with a lopulous leap, and he cleared his hoarse throat with a bopulous beep. He screamed, "Here's the end of that terrible town, full of Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." And at that very instant we heard a clup clup of feet on the wall, and old Van Itch clumped up. The boys in his back room had made him one too. In his fist was another big boy Boomaroo. "I'll blow you," he yelled, "into pork and wee beans. I'll butter side up you to small smithereens." "Grandpa!" I shouted. "Be careful. Oh, gee, who's going to drop it? Will you or will he?" "Be patient," said Grandpa. "We'll see. We will see." And that's how the book ends, because that is the idea of what Cold War was. Everyone was so afraid. We both had such big, awful weapons that no one was really able to do anything, and we were stuck. And so this is the position that you get stuck in when you both have such destructive weapons. Okay, I hope that gets your brain moving today. We'll talk about some more of that in our history lecture today. And I hope you're ready for a Friday, and then you can have a weekend, and then we'll finish this all up next week. Okay? Have a wonderful, fabulous day.